Chris,
Heath,
it's that time of the place again.
I cannot believe this is the 5th time we're predicting the Game Awards winners.
And we only get better.
Do we? I think maybe my most successful outing was the first one, and it's just been downhill from there.
Well, you struck while the iron was hot.
Beginner's luck.
Maybe games have just gotten worse since then.
Or maybe the bar for quality has shrunk ever closer between competing games.
You'd have to read the EDAR for that.
I guess we would.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm in full degen mode right now.
Have you showered?
I'm off from work for the next week.
Okay.
It's Thanksgiving time. It's right around the corner. And I'm making the most of...
Wait, so we can go to Original Steve's every day?
Every day. We can get breakfast at the diner between our apartments. But what I was saying is I am capitalizing on my shrinking window to use PTO. Because once January 1st arrives,
PTO.
New vacation policy at work, we are shifting to the dreaded unlimited quote unquote PTO format.
Thanks, Elon.
Have you heard of that?
No.
It's very popular amongst West Coast tech companies, of which I do not work at one, but we're emulating them. Where, yeah, it sounds great. There is no minimum or maximum PTO you can take per year, but anecdotally, this just leads to employees evidently taking less time off.
What, because you are incentivized to put it in the bank?
First of all, since you no longer have a set amount you're entitled to, there is no longer use it or lose it by the end of the year. There is no minimum threshold that you have to hit. So you can just take no time off. It can be competition between coworkers who uses the least time. And since you don't have any time you're entitled to, when you leave the company, you won't get paid out for unused vacation time because you don't, quote unquote, have any vacation time. It's a net negative, but we'll see. But yeah, that kicks into effect January. But right now, I've got tons of time bankrolled, and I'm going to burn it and play so many video games.
Oh, man, you should start a podcast so that you can talk about those video games.
I really should. I'm going to have a dumpster truck of opinions to unload next episode.
Yeah.
But we're not at next episode yet. We're at this episode.
Of Mobius Tubes.
Episode 78.
Recorded on November 19th, 2022.
Got that right. Yep. How are you, Heath?
I'm good. I'm still broken.
Yes, your hand.
But I think a dip in the hot springs would be just what the doctor ordered.
Is that why you're assembling the hot tub?
No, so I have a hot tub through work randomly that has been just sitting around for months. And now that Bailey has the winter blues, I'm going to set it up on the deck at her house. And hopefully she won't be so hypothermic to bridge the gap from the slidey door to the hot tub.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen.
I'm sorry to hear the cold weather already has Bailey in the dumps because winter hasn't even arrived.
She takes like a massive debuff, more than it makes sense. You would think it would be a bug if you were looking at it from a QA perspective.
Is it seasonal affective disorder?
Yeah.
Yeah? You think so? Undiagnosed?
Yeah, sure, undiagnosed. How would you diagnose it? What, you show them a picture of a snowman and their serotonin plummets?
I guess so.
Proceed, Chris.
Proceed. Okay.
We have way too much to talk about.
We've got a stacked itinerary when you told me what we were talking about. Do you want me to blitz my stuff and get that out of the way? Or we could alternate.
Did you beat the Slay the Spire like? What else is...
Oh, Monster Train?
Yeah.
I had dipped back into Monster Train, but no update this time.
Okay.
It's more of the same. It's great. Here's the quick thing I'll say. I did finish up Gears 5. The latest installment in Microsoft's blockbuster meathead third-person shooter series. It was good. I talked last episode about how it made a bunch of, kind of superfluous changes to modernize the franchise. Ooh, big open spaces. Gamers love that.
Yeah.
Ooh, persistent progression. Why don't you upgrade your AI companion, Jack? And it was all, it didn't really alter the formula in any meaningful way. It's still a Gears campaign through and through. I finished the game. It really met expectations throughout, except for something that happens right at the very end, which this is not going to be a long conversation. So I'm going to provide a spoiler without any context. If anyone out there wants to go into Gears 5 blind in 2022 and beyond, so just skip ahead to the next game we talk about. But I'll keep this relatively spoiler-free. But my jaw was on the floor, Heath, just because my expectations were so subverted. Here's what happens at the end of Gears 5. Context-free.
John Gears slays the big bad.
So here we are. It's the 6th mainline entry in this franchise. We're all the way at the end. It's been playing it super straight so far. And then out of the blue, like 18-wheeler coming out of nowhere and T-boning my car. Didn't see it coming whatsoever. All of a sudden in a Gears game, you get this big narrative branching choice. I was floored. I was in the mid cutscene, just kicking back, watching the story play out, watching not Marcus Phoenix go nice. And all of a sudden, it needs my input to make a binary choice that will alter the trajectory of the franchise going forward, I think. All of a sudden, it's Mass Effect, and you have to make a do or die consequential decision. And I had set the controller down. The decision just hung on the screen for a minute because I was like, oh, wait, am I being asked to do something here? I didn't see it coming. Unless they choose a canonical choice, the developer, the coalition, that's going to lead to a lot more dev time that they have to put into the game because there are 2 mutually exclusive paths you go down that will impact Gears 6 and beyond. I was just floored that they were in this franchise, this super linear, by the books franchise from days gone, like the Xbox 360 era.
We were prepubescent.
Yeah, we were.
Now we're pubescent. Now we look like Coltrane.
Now we look like Marcus Phoenix. Thanks to our rigorous gym routines. Yeah. So this was the last franchise I was expecting to have narrative input on. But lo and behold, at the end of Gears 5, big choice you make. And I couldn't believe it. It was the most surprising moment of the whole game for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's really all I've got to say about Gears 5. I liked it. I liked it because it was the Gears of War formula I know and love, just spoon-fed to me once more.
Giving BioWare a run for their magic.
Yeah, I guess. It was as if in the final 15 minutes of Mass Effect, they introduced the dialogue wheel for the first time. And you're like, where did this come from? This came out of nowhere. And that's all I've got to say about Gears 5. I recommend it. Oh, and fun environments in that game. In Chapter 3 in particular, some really cool just visuals in the type of landscape you're in. So that's good. Guess what? Gears of War, it's not all brown and gray anymore.
I was going to say, you're saying you don't fight your way out of the barracks to go to the factory, to go to the base, to go to the lab.
Yeah, in 2022, the Gears franchise discovered colors. Or I guess the game came out in 2019. But yeah, it's colorful now. There's diverse environments.
What?
It's a real visual showcase.
What?
I mean, the Gears games have always been trying to push the upper bounds of how good games can look. Especially the first one in 2006. That was a revelation. Mm-hmm. Very visually impressive. Boom. All right, we have far too much more to talk about. So
knocked
that's
it out.
Gears 5 pushed to the side. Would you like to tell me about Case of the Golden Idol?
Onto the Sea of the GI. Case of the Golden Idol, everybody's favorite, not Lucas Pope detective game where you're opening up your little LA Noire booklet and marking down clues. Who did what and why and where. I've beat it. I beat the epilogue. Big credits to Bailey, who figured out the one twist this game had. It only has one twist.
Oh.
I mean, there's many, whodunity style twists, but as far as, the through line across multiple missions,
I see.
she was like, what if blankety blank? And I was like, oh, you're right. she would never have finished this game if we didn't play it together because it was a work simulator.
Which you dig.
I dig.
It was one of your categories in Heath's taste.
That's very much so, yeah. A pillar. I did want to finish it, and I'm glad that we did. And we almost beat the whole game hint-free.
Okay. Die before you cheat.
We were on death row, and we decided we were in hospice care, and we just decided one little hint. And I'm thankful for how they structure the hints. You have to do basically like a CAPTCHA of who is this person, what is this item, why is it contextual, and you have to fill out like a 3x4 grid of like fill in the blank to even unlock the possibility of like which of these hints do you want to do.
Whoa!
And it'll be like, what happened at the manor? What happened at the crossroads? What happened at the cabin?
So this hint you looked up was not an external Google search. It was a system baked into the game.
Yeah, each level has its own hints that are accessible via like work for it mini game. Tell me that you know what's going down.
That's awesome.
That you could brute force your way through, I guess. So
that sounds pretty novel to me.
Bravo to the makers of Golden Idol.
And you said you got to put some input into like what kind of a hint you wanted, like which aspect of the puzzle you were struggling with?
There were 4 available.
That's really nice.
And I was like, oh, we done figured out what happened at the cabin.
Gotcha.
But the manor is anyone's guess. And kudos to the hint. It was like, go check out the cabin to figure out what's someone might be romantically involved with what someone. So good recommend for Golden Idol. The art design is a bit of a hurdle. I don't know which one that is. Okay, here. Let me do that.
Sure. We've got cats in the general vicinity this time.
I live in a jungle.
This is a never before seen recording location for Mobius Tubes. We're breaking new ground. We've been outside. Now we're at the apartment Heath actually lives at.
Next time we're going to be in a sensory deprivation tank sending messages to each other. Yeah, so the only thing I would change about the Golden Idol is its art style, despite how quaint it was, and probably how the game got to be as detailed as it was because the art style wasn't prohibitive. Great transmission connections to be had, recurring characters.
Okay.
It's not anthological. Couldn't be less anthological.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked Golden Idol.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next case.
What was the runtime like?
Ooh.
Shorter than
11 hours?
Okay. That's in the ballpark of Obra Dinn.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess a little longer than I was expecting.
Obra Dinn is definitely a meteor game.
Okay.
Case of Golden Idol is appetizer.
Meteor meaning what specifically? Like more
Meaning
challenging?
like more things to explore and solve. This
Bigger
game is like a
cast.
diorama as opposed to a sandbox.
Got it. Okay. I could see how that fits.
Yeah.
Since chapters are more self-contained in case of the Golden Idol.
That and the presentation is a little more stylish in Obra.
Okay.
Just even the pocket watch is leagues ahead of whatever cutscenes you can earn in Golden Idol once you solve the mystery at whatever place.
Very good.
Big pop-offs, though, as soon as I figured out what kind of hat that guy had on, Bailey had to shush me because I was going to wake the neighbors. How hype I got.
Okay.
Because everything clicks into place once you figure it out.
I'm sure it's a big thrill.
But that's Golden Idol.
Nice.
On to the other game that I beat.
Yeah, okay.
Or do you have a game?
I'll pop in with another quick one.
Cool.
So I picked up and played Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is a little indie darling from a few years back. The pitch of this game is it's like playing through an interactive music album. This is a musical experience. I would describe it as a rhythm puzzle platformer. Maybe even remove the puzzle part. It's just a rhythm platformer. Kind of like Guitar Hero, it has a set of tracks that you play through in a set order from start to finish. That's the album component. You're subjected to some very nice neon, low poly visual aesthetics. That
Would you say it's neon white?
it's more of a neon purple.
Okay.
But yes, very catchy electronic tracks throughout. So if you don't like electronic music, no need to touch Sayonara Wild Hearts. It's poppy, it's electronic, it's that kind of a vibe. As far as the platforming goes, it's pretty simplistic, but they've mixed it up with some great variety. You're never doing the same thing between songs. You're often traversing through environments, whizzing through them at high speeds on a bicycle.
Gotta go fast.
Or zooming through on, some kind of a vehicle. And there's boss battles mixed in. And you're trying to get a high score. You could potentially replay the game a few times, try to get a higher rank. They give you a bronze, silver, gold, maybe platinum at the end.
Are the boss battles like Friday Night Fights?
I don't know what Friday Night Fights looks like.
What's the DDR Newgrounds game?
Oh, Friday Night Funkin'?
Funkin', yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
No, it's not as head-to-head as that is. Anyway, they mix up what you're doing from song to song in a enjoyable manner, and I dug the music. I vibed with the music.
On a scale of 1 to Yakuza, what did you think of it?
It's hard to compete with Yakuza. I prefer the Yakuza soundtrack, but this is good stuff. It's narrated by Queen Latifah.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a narrative through line, for sure. It's a kind of vague, kind of abstract. They feature a lot of tarot cards, which as a Persona fan, I dig.
Uh-huh.
It's ostensibly supposed to be about heartbreak, I believe. I mean, that's kind of where the title comes from, Sayonara Wild Hearts. That aspect of the game didn't really resonate with me. I was kind of hoping it might, but it didn't. So can't really comment on that from the emotional resonance of the game. I'll say towards some of the levels towards the end really clicked with like a flow state, just everything happening on screen, synchronized so well with the music and what the inputs I was making on the controller. It was great. It was like everything lined up at once. The whole thing, it doesn't take very long at all. It's like literally the duration of listening to an album. It'll take you no more than 90 minutes, and maybe you'll be done in a single hour. So it's not much of a time investment. It's not much of a monetary investment. So it's a pretty safe recommend as long as you generally like electronic-y music. And that is Sayonara Wild Hearts, a fun time. Some of the worst achievements I've ever seen in a game, though. They're just ridiculous. They're the most arbitrary
50
things.
50-note streak, 100-note streak.
So there's a section on the main menu you can click into that gives you these riddles for how to unlock the achievements.
Uh-huh.
You can just look them up online if you don't want to bother with the riddles. But they're garbage things like go into a level, pause and resume 15 times in quick succession.
Oh.
It's just the most arbitrary bullshit I've ever heard of.
Oh my God. Turn up the brightness.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
It was crazy. For what's a pretty artistic game to have just like, I guess maybe it was poking fun at the type of person who would be trying to unlock the achievements in this type of game.
The only reason I'm playing Sayonara Wild Hearts is so I can get the easy gamer score.
And some of them are hard. So, yeah, garbo achievements. But otherwise, Sayonara Wild Hearts, a fun, pleasant time. That's all I've got to say.
How close are you to getting Stanley Parable's Go Outside achievement?
Ooh, so I'm such a nerd. I tinkered with my computer's internal clock to unlock it back in the day.
Well, what about Stanley Parable Deluxe's achievement?
Okay, I haven't downloaded that. I'm sure they have some new fun hijinks in there, right?
Super Go Outside, which asks players not to play the game for 10 real world years.
Where previously it was 5?
Yeah.
Wait, click on that article.
What?
Did they find like a way to circumvent players who would cheat? The first time people are eligible to unlock this achievement, if they do it correctly, is the year 2032. So anyone who has the achievement already cheated to do so.
Right. Oh, and the developer commented on it. It's a hollow victory. Nothing was risked. Nothing was gained.
3.3% of players have the achievement already.
Are soulless, yeah.
Had I played Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition, I'd probably be among those 3.3 players.
No shame.
I live for the hollow victory.
Uh-huh. All right, you want to dive in?
Okay, the main event. Months in the making.
Yeah.
What we're about to discuss. So, Heath, you rolled the credits on 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
I did, although I stepped away from the post-credits scene.
Oh,
and
just thinking it was over.
Yeah.
So you left the room.
I had to look it up on YouTube, yeah.
How did you even know there was a post-credit scene if you walked away?
I think I tuned into the spoiler casts that I've been meaning to listen to, and then it was among the recommended. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can't skip that post-credit scene.
I'm gonna need you to help me unpack it though. Overall, what a fun sci-fi adventure. I'm going to say that I didn't get the big twist until quite late.
I can't wait to hear which big twist you're referring to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we'll keep just general thoughts before we dive full into spoiler mode.
Yeah, just general thoughts are kudos on having such a fun story that centers around young characters. Although when stakes got really dire or emotional, despite how horny this game can be, nobody kisses.
Yeah.
I found that the absence of a kiss weird.
Interesting.
I was like, they should share a kiss right now. But maybe because they're high school students, like they didn't want to, but obviously they did want to in tremendous ways.
Right.
So that was the only bump that I had. I didn't even attempt zone 4 of the mech battler, just because I imagine it's like back in the simulator kind of thing. Now that we've solved the main conflict, we defeated the kaiju. Now Okino had some training levels that were let's see, because clearly if you're piloting a Sentinel, you are slowly dying. And what was it for Jiro? It's like he was in there for 2 hours.
Right. There's a time limit.
And then the cockpit, and then Jiro just falls out, and Megumi's like, no! And Jiro just expires because he was USB plugged into the Sentinel for so long. So how could they justify Zone 4? Did you play any of the post-credits mech battlers?
So, you're like unlocking memories for me. Some of the strategy component levels are only unlocked once you roll the credits.
Well, you beat the third zone, and you defeat the prime RPF or whatever.
Yeah.
The factory enemy.
I don't even remember Zone 4 being a thing, so I must not have.
Okay, no. I haven't uninstalled the game yet, so maybe I'll dive back in. But it's still, the thumbnail is just causing Bailey damage.
Have you tried to explain what this game is to Bailey?
Ooh.
Or do you just keep it as under wraps as possible?
No, I mean, she'll look at my phone and see the videos I record of myself explaining the highlights that I've sent to you on occasion. And she'll just be like, what are you doing? So no, I don't. Bailey will never play this game.
Yes.
And it's a shame because it's a fun sci-fi story. My favorite guy character is a toss-up between A. Sekigahara and Nenji Ogata. I enjoyed theirs the most.
I believe I'm side Nenji Ogata.
Nenji Ogata, his relationship with, this is where we die,
Tomi
Kisaragi.
Yeah,
his relationship with Kisaragi is the healthiest at the end. 13 Sentinels. These high school couples end up having futures together, and not all of them are sustainable.
Sure.
But Tomi and Nenji Ogata's is one of the best. I found them the most endearing, and I liked Nenji's, like, not crook with a heart of gold, but still like rough around the edges, but wants to do the right thing. He was the rich daddy, is the CEO of the evil company. And then, him like, oh, do I have the decode inside my nano machines? All right. Now, that's not a spoiler just yet, right?
I'm pretty sure everything you just said is completely inscrutable. So,
right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
no.
Yeah. So,
did you find that the strategy component of the game had any merits worth discussing? Or is it total filler compared to why you play this game?
The pilot's abilities during the mech battle thing, where it's like, Yuki Takamiya, the tough girl, is on the squad with Natsuno, the athletic girl.
Yes.
Big attack bonus or something like that.
Because they're best friends IRL.
Right.
So they buff each other on the battlefield.
Right. And like that, I wanted to perform better in the mech battle, so I had to pay attention to the pilot's abilities, and that only strengthened what was going on in the story. So kudos to there. They didn't make the pilot's abilities meaningless like Sayonara Wild Hearts' achievements.
Okay.
But yeah, when you play the final tower defense, where it's like you just got to hold them off until the Aegis can activate, the screen just becomes a mess of aerial rocket circles. Did you ever unlock Missile Rain as one of your Sentinels attacks?
I think so.
Missile Rain. It just dots the area in front of your Sentinel with just all those little circles.
Yeah.
I did have very slight performance issues playing it on the Switch. You played it on the PlayStation.
A PlayStation 4, yeah.
Yeah.
In the heaviest battle scenes, it would chug a little bit, yeah.
Did your haptics in your DualSense rumble when a girl got close?
So I wasn't playing it on a PS5. I don't own a DualSense. This was the old DualShock.
You know what I'm
4.
getting at.
One question. After I finished the game, and I headed on over to the 13 Sentinels subreddit. Apparently there's like a big meme around how good Shinanome's ability to deploy 2
sentry
guns is.
Yeah.
Is that something you leveraged very often?
No.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I used her missile salvo, in which she does basically just pirouettes and kills everything in a radius. I never bothered with sentry guns. I used the Guardian decoy, like attack this thing temporarily.
Okay.
Once. My favorite Sentinels were the Gen 4 ones that could just fly over here, fly over there.
The flying ones were great.
Leg spike.
Right.
If the mech battles were non-existent, I feel like my eyelids would have just slowly faded down during some of the more slice of life moments of the story. When plot was at its scarcest, I think the mech battles do add a bit of breaking that up.
I agree. They are a great palate cleanser. Break up the monotony of constant story revelations.
Yeah.
And
speaking of revelations, we gotta start cracking that open.
All right, we're going whole hog here. Full story spoilers for 13 Sentinels incoming.
Yeah, don't listen to this if you haven't played. Well, no, I kind of want our friends that'll never play 13
Oh yeah,
Sentinels.
if you're not intending to play this roller coaster of a game,
then
come on in.
Tune in.
I was also trying to refresh myself on some of the big plot stuff right before this. Mm-hmm. I was hopping on YouTube, and I was like, "Ooh boy, this is kind of a brick wall."
It's labor intensive.
It is labor intensive.
Well, because here's the thing, right? Destruction, right? The tabs, right? Story, 100%. Destruction, 100%. Analysis, I'm still at like 90%.
Yeah.
I probably have a cutscene that I didn't see because I didn't feed Iori Fuyusaka the right hot dog. So my loss. I'm not gonna dig through that and be like, and just find out 2 loops ago somebody at Shikishima wanted to hug someone else. Whatever.
It's so good.
So let me circle back to my favorite characters, and then we'll do like my least favorite characters, right? Sekigahara. He's just no memory man.
Of which there are a few, but yeah, he's one of the main.
It's just
amnesiac.
Memento.
Yes.
Where I wake up next to a corpse, did I do this? I must have done this.
Right.
And then mystery phone call where it's like, don't talk to the authorities, right? And then I kind of liked how Iori Fuyusaka falls in love with him immediately. And then the nice motorcycle scene where it's like, I love you. It's like we met like an hour ago, it feels like. He was my favorite. Some things involving, I'm going to say it, 426.
426.
Talk about a gargantuan clue. It's like, did you ever watch The Usual Suspects with Kevin Spacey?
I have not.
Okay, it's a good mystery movie. That's the whole point, is one of the 5 people on the poster did it.
Yes.
And the bad guy in that movie is called Kaiser Soze. Have you ever heard the phrase Kaiser Soze?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Kaiser Soze is, or rather 426 is this universe's Kaiser Soze.
Okay.
It is said throughout the playthrough.
Yes.
And it means so many different things. It means the virus that A. Sekigahara is just eating his memory files in his brain. It is also the future terrorist that Jiro Izumi becomes. It is also creation of not Shu Amaguchi, Tetsuya Ida. You can speak on that as soon as I finish this thought.
I'm not sure that I can.
maybe you can. Okay, so the big twist, maybe we should just lead with that.
Okay.
No such thing as time travel.
Yeah.
Every time the blue spinny clock shows up to indicate a transition, it is a lie that Vanillaware is telling.
Absolutely.
It's just a big floaty Death Star that has 1940s people walking around, 2025 people walking around, and then everything in between.
Yes, there is no time travel. It's just teleportation.
As soon as you and wait. But what's the thing, right? So Shu Amiguchi and Tough Girl.
Yeah, Yuki.
Yuki, better put on a show for Yuki-chan. That was the couple that I was getting at, where it's like they get divorced.
Oh yeah,
That's
and
Yuki,
the epilogue.
That's Yuki Takamiya's like only character trait in 2188 is like my husband.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. Shu Amiguchi is, I mean, he's one of our heroes, but he's definitely like, don't marry him. He's
right.
in the class of like, I'm gonna keep asking you to go on a date with me until you capitulate.
Yeah.
Which like the Japanese think is cute still, but us American boys in the year 2022 know, So they're riding on the motorcycle, right? We're going to get out of the city. We're going to get to 30 kilometers out.
Oh, yeah.
They drive into the tunnel.
Is going.
And then they see, what's this? It's like, you ever reach the end of a chunk in Minecraft or whatever? What's the further reaches of Minecraft where it's an unlimited sandbox until you get so far from the spawn point? It's like 64 squared, I think, is the area.
Okay.
Or maybe it's greater than that. Maybe it's like 256. You get to the far reaches of the Minecraft. Forgive me that I don't know what it's called. Everyone under 10. But all the terrain just starts to just spaghettify and turn into big blocks of nothing where you can totally like just fall through the world. Same thing in 13 Sentinels, where it becomes just a web of circuitry.
Yes.
And Shu and Yuki are like, what is this? We live in like a dome?
A cage.
Yeah, basically.
That was one of my favorite moments in the game, actually.
It is, until you realize that was never real, right? Because we were like, is this a semi-permeable barrier between space and Ashitaba City? And you go, no, because it's all virtual.
Yeah, so we're jumping around from big twist to big twist to the final twist, which is that this is a recurring simulation, which I felt kind of undercuts a lot of the explanations they built up, how this could like have been a physical space. They found a way to justify how time travel works in this universe. It doesn't exist.
Uh-huh.
People are just transporting to different quarters of this giant facility.
Via universal control, the big just UFO.
Yeah. And then we got to the part where like, okay, when you reach the outer edges of the city, that no one has ever really tried to escape the city before because they have implanted memories of like areas outside the city. No one ever tries to leave, but when you do, there's this big perimeter you hit.
You get Men in Blacked.
Yes.
You basically just the white light, and it's like, I left the stove on.
So yeah, it's all a simulation is like the obvious twist at the end of something this fantastical. But I felt like they did a pretty good job justifying how this could exist in reality, and then they didn't even need to do that by the end because it was a simulation.
Right, and you don't feel swindled by the nothing matters because they were all AI. They were just a program because you've grown to like these characters. And then the recurring simulation, yeah, that's what we're getting at with the post-credit scene. Is what it like light speeds off to a different Earth where this is also happening.
Right.
Let's talk about the loops.
Sure.
Were you able to parse when you went through like the analysis tab and it said that it features like these characters from 1 loop ago, 2 loops ago, like the Juro Izumi just mowing down preteens was him from like 2 loops ago.
It's kind of incredible how many people on this cast are Juro. Like how many Juros are there? Juro is the Fluffy the cat. There's Juro in the current timeline. There's Juro who's 426. There's another Juro I'm forgetting. Yeah, there's so many Juros.
Probably. Yeah. Oh, there's like the chiseled Juro in 2188 that rescues Yuki from like getting virus blasted out to space by Takatoshi.
Yes.
Takatoshi.
I'm acting like an amateur.
Yes, yeah. I deny you. Yeah.
Yakisoba pan.
Yakisoba pan is disgusting. Have you seen what yakisoba pan looks like?
Yeah.
It's spaghetti in a hot dog roll.
Right. I kind of want to try it though.
I don't.
After it's been hyped up so much.
It's probably just carbs on carbs.
It is very carb heavy.
It's insane. I'm never going to try it. Talk about all like the listicles that are like food from popular media that we're dying we wish was real. Yakisoba pan, leave it. I'm not gay, but yeah, that thought of Takatoshi, I think they handled it kind of well.
Really?
Where like aside for the part where Okino, who is the most manipulative person I've ever seen.
He's so bad.
He is constantly like changing up which days he cross-dresses.
Yeah.
Just to
get a rise out of
just to unearth whatever's in Takatoshi that's like, I care for Okino. They're all I've got in this future world. Too bad Okino like straps Takatoshi down for like a tickle his dick mind jack sesh.
Yeah.
Where clearly someone in Japan wants this to happen as like as a sub.
Yeah, I think Japan's fairly buttoned up when it comes to that. So this was whoever the developer was on the game, this was their way to express that fantasy.
Yeah.
Through their art.
Yeah. And aside from a few moments like that, and also at the very end where Okino goes, we're in a simulation. I can have whatever parts I want down there.
Yeah.
To Takatoshi. And what does Takatoshi do? Does he just like run away, or is he like, or does he go on like one knee and his hair swoops down and he's like, oh God, why are you such a tease? Like just so. But aside from that, I really liked how their relationship landed in 2188.
Okay.
Where they're like together, they're partners. And then as soon as Chihiro Morimura gets blasted by a Sekigahara, which is what a cool, I liked that a lot. because Chihiro Morimura was been like total control throughout the whole story, and then to have this future assassin by trade just blow up her oxygen, whatever, great. And then as soon as Chihiro's dead, in the future Chihiro, it's left to like all the dumb boys to figure it out. And what happens? They're fighting over supplies. Jiro ices Okino, and that causes Takatoshi to wipe everybody else out on the spaceship. And I like how, like, yeah, humanity sucks in the future. This is the worst versions of everybody. Tetsuya Ida is the worst. Shino Nome doomed everybody.
Yeah, she does.
Because her crush didn't reciprocate.
Right.
Which is just pure
She's
vanilla
the
wear.
one who tampered with the simulation to put the Deimos in it. Is that right?
I think so.
And the Deimos are just like from an arcade game or something like that?
Right, because Okino borrowed code from the arcade game to make the whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Because Okino is Chihiro Morimura's surrogate son.
Okay, yeah.
But the relationships that gave me the most joy were like Eisaki Kihara and Iori Fuyusaka. Oh, and then Neji Ogata and Tomi. And then in a weird way, Takatoshi and Okino. There's so much that could, like, don't you kind of wish Okino was a Sentinel? One of the 13? So
Yeah.
you could deep dive? Because otherwise, their story is just in like vignettes.
Right.
You'll be
Never get the deep dive the other characters are provided with.
You'll be doing a ditzy Natsuno nothing like, let's go, BJ. And then Okino will come in and just plot dump. And then you'll be like, all right, till next time, Okino. There were a couple characters like that.
How OP was Renya Goto's notebook?
Renya Goto turning the last hour. What's the joke on the subreddit where it was like, I took notes and he's just
Right.
the Giga Chad or whatever?
Renya Goto explains the game to you at the end.
Is that what Danganronpa is? Is that what Ace Attorney is? It's just notes. I wish
hard to
it
say.
was.
Okay.
That I loved Goto's.
What answer will get you to play Danganronpa? Yes?
Yeah,
Then yes.
yeah. If you said yeah. Why couldn't Child shoot him? Because I registered this phaser to only be usable by the real Chihiro or whatever. I don't remember.
Yep. Super hazy on that.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Megumi?
Oh, so like
Conflicted?
she didn't even think twice for a second. She's out here blasting people until
like
the
that-
11th hour.
It's
and
like
then,
that All Sunny in Philadelphia meme. And then I started blasting.
Yes,
She had no qualms shooting her friends.
until it was far too late, and it's like, wait, what am I doing? I'm listening to a talking cat telling me to eliminate witches.
Quote unquote witches, yeah.
Goofy.
But
What?
she's an awesome homemaker.
She's an
Those
awesome-
meals she cooks, they look scrumptious.
Right. Those are the meals that I want to eat, not yakisoba pan. And what a pal she was when Jiro comes out of the pod, taking off all her clothes so that Jiro wouldn't feel self-conscious being the only one naked. Because what's the rationale between that? Hey, spacefaring preteens, we're shipping you 5,000 light years to that Earth so you can start the new race. And on your way there, we're going to keep you in those gestating pods 2 years until you turn 20. Chris,
Hey,
not everyone has the same birthday. What is it? If you're in a group of 23 people, at least two of them share a birthday?
there's likely to be one overlap.
Yeah. So we have 13. So unless Megumi and Jiro were born on the same day, why would she have full boobage on the day that Jiro turns 20, right? Because he I don't know if you blocked this from memory.
Okay.
he wakes up he turns 20, right? He wakes up and he sees just pods in the semicircle, whatever. And he's like, where am I? And then Megumi's like, you're the last one to wake up. Come on, let's go join the others.
Yeah.
But Vanillaware had to make sure you scored like if you stuck it through, you were going to get rewarded with some hot anime girls. And so why would she be naked? Unless she just got out of the pod as well.
Ah, okay.
I'm assuming, like, who's the oldest? Renya?
Okay.
He probably got out first.
So
and then saw the new world and went, interesting, and took a note.
Yeah. If his notebook wasn't already full.
Oh, no, yeah, he didn't have it.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Yeah, so you're saying the trigger that unlocks them in reality out of their gestation pod is that they turn 20?
Yeah, that was Tamao Karabe coming on and being like, yeah, you beat the game.
And you're saying it's ridiculous for Megumi to still be naked because she's probably been out of the pod for weeks.
Unless, yeah. I'm thinking, because here's the theory, right? She still got the hots for Juro Izumi. Juro's birthday's coming up.
So she strips.
So she just, yo guys, I'm gonna go wake up Juro. And then, and then she's there.
In my memory, this could be totally off base.
Okay.
I thought they were all waking up in quick succession, and the trigger was you ending the recurring loops in the simulation.
No, it's on their 20th birthday.
Okay. Then there's no justification for that. I don't know.
Right.
I did like, as far as everything being a simulation goes, that's my biggest personal qualm with the game.
Oh, are we talking about this now? The hedonistic wager?
Oh, no, that's not where I was going.
Okay, well, save that.
I was going to say, you've been playing this entire 50-hour game or so.
Yeah.
And every time people come on like the digital comms, they're in the cockpit of the mech and they're nude, but you only see them from like the shoulder up. You're like, why did these characters have to be naked in the mech? That doesn't seem to make much sense.
Right.
I did like the justification at the end where, the mech pilot cockpit that you're seeing them in, that's the only window into reality you see in the simulation. That's why they're naked. They're in the gestation pods.
They're Neo Matrix 1 just in the goo, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why they're quote unquote naked in the the mech cockpit.
Except Renya's got his glasses.
More than just he has glasses. I was going to say that. It's kind of hilarious that they're buck naked except for the characters who need glasses.
And
where did those come from?
And Morimura's fully in leather.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was
maybe it's not as clever as I thought.
That was a simulation or whatever. Okay, yeah, let's get to it, right? In the real world, technology progresses so hard that we all have nanomachines. Everyone.
Yeah.
And then Chihiro Morimura, in order to get her Kickstarter funded for this ARC project of exploring new worlds, she sells nanomachine tech on the black market. This causes bad people to get their hands on the nanomachine tech and develop a virus that spreads throughout globally. It wipes out the Earth, right?
Yes. Is that 426?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. It's different from DD426.
Okay. Of course
it's the reason that Megumi couldn't be Megumi's dad, who's like, please let me on, and Takatoshi's like, no, you could be infected, and he's like,
take
okay,
the child.
yeah, I am, but take the child. So it makes sense. Right, all the characters in this story are Japanese because Japan, an isolated island, would be like the last place for like the virus to reach if they were in lockdown or what have you. Yeah, so everybody goes up to the spaceship, and the game that you're playing is like a simulation in the heads of these chosen survivors, clones.
Yes. And all these clones were people who were on that last space station.
Yeah.
They're genetic copies.
Yeah, like Shinonome, she's the last surviving human in the world.
Right.
And she bites the dust. And then humanity's only hope is this pod that's shooting toward that viable planet so that these clones can then repopulate with the help of these nanomachine people that they're going to use nanomachines to build the DNA, whatever. So, Chris, if you're one of these, if you're like a cute Shiba, right, hanging out in this simulation.
Okay, Shiba, not a real genetic copy of a person, right?
Right,
He's
or
just,
whatever. Like, remember the bullies who were like, Nenji Ogata.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they always get
that
beat
gang.
up.
Right.
I loved when Nenji like hugs him at the very end. That's funny.
That's great. Yeah, that's so good.
So if you're one of these just NPCs in this virtual world, right?
Yes.
And I use my real world tech to build you an android body and or whatever, like a organic symbiote cyborg body.
Because of course there are androids in this game too.
Right.
Many of them.
Like too many to keep track of. And I put your little consciousness into a real world body.
Yeah, digital consciousness.
On the endgame planet.
Yeah.
Am I robbing you of your... What are we calling this again?
Oh, you're referring to the
pleasure machine?
Experience machine?
Pleasure machine? Yeah, the experience machine. That was it.
We did 2 episodes on it.
Yeah. Am I pulling you out by duping your consciousness maybe, and then everybody's like, yay, we got everybody in the real world. We can shut off this deprecated program from which we copy and pasted all of everybody's consciousness into these real world robots. Now that we've successfully brought the population back from 0, is that like, are you going to be the guy that says, no, leave me in Ashitaba City. I'm having a great time eating funnel cake, whatever. But remember the other part of the subreddit where it's like, I'm stuck. No, what is the joke on the subreddit was like an overclocked PC, and it's like the simulation trying to progress after 30 visits to the confection place with Iori and Miwako and Tomi.
It's really weird how tricky that part of the game is. Getting snacks with the girls. Right.
Maybe we're guys and we just didn't figure it out. It's almost Frog Fractions-esque.
It kind of is.
But am I robbing you of the experience machine of which you are a participant if I go and put you in a real world? Because remember, they're all like, who proposes it? Where it's like, you know what we should do? We should bring all these virtual NPCs into the real world via the cool tech.
Yeah, that happens in the epilogue, right?
Yeah, and what is your answer?
People like Miwako,
yeah,
for example.
Yeah, barring the fact that every girl in the real world is smoking hot.
Yeah,
I don't know. Does anybody get? Yeah, there's no Miwako in the real world. It's only these hotties that if they swipe a part of their body that's near the bathing suit, it turns blue and it says start.
Right. And this idea to transfer all their digital friends into android bodies in reality
Miwako
was proposed because they missed them, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well,
that violates this is the trolley problem. You were on the other track that's enjoying the hedonistic experience machine that is Ashitaba City.
Well, I don't know.
You clearly
did we play the same game, Heath? It didn't seem like they were having a great time in there.
No, but surely they can modify them.
Maybe free of the Deimos. It could be a fun time in that simulation. I mean, they're
watching
digital
videotapes of kaiju movies and eating things.
Right. So there's a lot of qualifying questions I'd have to ask. You know, since they're a digital entity, couldn't you leave them running in the simulation, copy, paste them also to simultaneously be in the android body? Couldn't both run at the same time?
Yeah, but what if this new android body in the new world hits a coffee table and eats it like a bad Boston's Dynamics robot?
Sure.
Isn't that like a net loss in happiness? my first thought as soon as like, we should bring everybody from the real virtual world into the real world. I was like, Chris would hate you if I did that.
All right. Well, part of this is I don't inherently think any virtual world is going to be better than reality. I mean,
Then why did you immediately choose the plug me in daddy for the experience machine?
We were under the assumption this was the ideal world of my own design that I was plugging into.
Okay.
Instead of some arbitrary
Japanese city where
that may be no better or worse than reality.
Okay.
And then we have to get into the ethics of AI. Do these artificial construct, does it have an opinion on how it spends its days? Can we get an answer from it? Can
child Chihiro Morimura vote?
Sure. That's a good question. But yeah, I don't know, Heath. I have a lot of questions that we probably don't need to get into.
Fine. All right, press on.
But yeah, the major distinction is I think the simulation in 13 Sentinels is just Japanese city, where our debate back in the day was like my idealized digital playground that I plug into forever.
Every screen has a 4090.
Right, which, by the way, I'm still ready to get plugged in any day.
Attaboy, double down. Yeah, more for you.
I bought some expensive cables, so my uplink process should go even better now. That $80 HDMI cord.
Good bandwidth.
Right. Anyway, do we have anything else we want to talk about 13 Sentinels, or are we winding down?
We absolutely winded down. I mean, this will get me to play the next Vanillaware game if it has as much fanfare as something going forward, you know?
Yeah, I think this was their most story-heavy title, so I don't know what they're going to do next. They did a lot of action games in the past.
Yeah. It feels like Vanillaware just made like Until Dawn, and then Until Dawn was followed up by like
Man of Medan.
Yeah, okay. So it remains to be seen if Vanillaware can strike double Sentinel lightning.
Yeah. So overall, how close to the bullseye did it get compared to your expectations?
It just hit the edge of my expectations. It nearly missed. The way that the people I listened to talked it up so hard.
Yeah.
And I see what they were getting at with like the Kyudashiba. That was great.
Of course.
Tetsuya Ida just being a robot at the end of a Sekigahara's story. That was great. Literally, like every Matrix, source code, Groundhog Day, Terminator. It delivers on every science fiction thing I can think of, aside from like I could say literally anything. No, it's great. 13 Sentinels. Maybe it doesn't have the jaw-dropping revelations that even like Undertale. There's no reaction compilation to be made of 13 Sentinels the same way other games with big twists do.
Part of that is twists occur at like different times for different people, and they have different context when the twist is delivered.
Yeah.
It's very unchronological. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a game I quite enjoy, but like you said, I was maybe hyped up a little too much on it.
It's going to be on my top 10 list.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean,
we'll
you've
see
played
where.
fewer than 10 games. I can't wait to see what you cobble together.
Yeah, we'll see if it's above Mass Effect 3.
Because you opened the main menu of Mass Effect 3?
Because I saw a desktop icon for Mass Effect 3 once.
Right.
Darn. All right, moving on. That's all the games I played.
I have got one more, but I want a drink of water.
Yeah, I do it. One more, he says. What could it be? Is it Viva Pinata? That's from the Gears era.
It is.
They couldn't resist making Renya Goto be the most analytical person, but still wanting a big handful of Chihiro Morimura's
How are you gonna
story arcs.
Story arcs. Okay. Moving on.
He literally had to like turn around and take off his glasses and be like, "Am I not infallible?" Like, cringing at Vanillaware.
On that note, let's see. The last game I've been playing recently is Remedy's Control. Hey.
Oh!
Yeah. So from the creators of Alan Wake and Quantum Break, it's their most recent 2019 release, Control, a game
and Quake. I wanted to keep it going.
Right. A game that has had lots of critical praise. IGN gave it their Game of the Year that
yeah,
year.
it's gotten 10 out of 10s from people.
And I have been loving the game. It's been a long time since a game has this quickly sucked me in and got me invested and intrigued to see more in such a rapid pace. You play as a woman named Jessie Faden.
Red hair.
Yes, she's got some red hair and a leather jacket. And she just walks into this office building. That's the opening scene of the game. She walks into the Bureau of Control, which is this shadowy government organization kind of tasked with investigating paranormal incidents that happen in the real world and cover them up. The weird things that happen in the universe of Control are often called altered world events. And I guess they're triggered by what you could conceive of as like the collective unconscious. When enough people have enough certain ideas about certain objects or things, it can manifest in reality in a supernatural way.
What?
Yeah. Kind of like, certain objects get imbued with power. I mean, I haven't finished the game yet. I'm about 15 hours
Chris,
in. What's up?
So if enough people post Big Chungus, we'll start having obese rabbits walking on two legs?
Kind of.
Imbued with power.
There's a lot of excellent lore and world building. You're picking up little documents all over the place because you're in an office building. So there would be all these secret pieces of paper with black streaks on them, censoring the confidential information. Redacted. But the way it works in my head is that here's part of the cool world building. You're not allowed to bring current technology into the Federal Bureau of Control. They use tech from like the 60s and 70s because more recent tech than that hasn't existed long enough to like osmosis into the collective unconscious.
The ubiquity of
There's like a gestation period where, so like a modern cell phone, they start to act weird and eventually explode or rupture if you bring them into this building.
Some do, like Samsung.
Yeah, some do. Because humanity hasn't yet fully come to grips as a collective with the concept of a modern smartphone.
Well, hold on.
What?
The 60s, you said?
Yeah. You just need like 40 years.
Humanity hadn't quite come to grips with integration in the 60s.
I guess it's only about like...
A black person would explode.
I mean... No,
just press forward. Just
we're talking about inanimate objects here.
Yeah, move on.
So certain things become objects of power. For example, like the concept of a rubber ducky. There is like the titular rubber ducky, and it's under lock and key at the Federal Bureau of Control.
Oh, like the same way they'll lock up like standards of measure.
Like what are you referring to?
Like this is I'm positive in London. Like
this is an inch.
This is a kilogram.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
And these objects get weird abilities. And you walk in. This is not a spoiler. You're immediately promoted to the director of the entire facility because you can pick up and wield the service weapon, which is... It's a gun. It's the weapon you use in this game. It's cool. Technically, there's only one weapon in the game. In this era in history, it resembles a handgun, but it's alluded to that in previous eras of history, this weapon has been referred to as like Mjolnir, or it's like a folk weapon that changes with the times.
Excalibur.
Yeah, exactly. So you're the director now, and you're there at the Federal Bureau of Control to get some answers from your past. And then the story runs from there, and it's very interesting. And the environment's super cool. There's no game looks like this quite like it. Brutalist.
Gravity Rush?
You do some floating around, like in Gravity Rush, how Cat manipulates gravity to fly through the air. So I see where you're coming from. But this game, brutalist architecture everywhere, mind-bending dimensions you go into. There's this recurring motel you enter that operates on dream logic. It's like a cool puzzle to solve. I'm just throwing impressions out that are coming to me. It is a third-person shooter that you do some shooting, you have some cool paranatural abilities you get. There's a lot of exploring to do. The game is much longer than I thought it was. I'm 15 hours in, and it does not feel like I'm approaching the end.
Huh.
It gets wilder and wilder. I feel like the most surprising things have yet to come. It is...
So this isn't an adventure game. This is an action game.
I'd call... And we're going to, of course, this is the episode where we will predict Game of the Year in various categories.
This is deliberate.
In the nebulous way we categorize video games and genres, I'd call it an action adventure game.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. There's some puzzles, there's some shooting. It's great. Honestly, as much as I love recording podcasts with you, Heath, the highest praise I can give this game is I'm slightly annoyed that I'm not playing Control right now. And there will be more impressions to come on next episode once I finish the game. Don't worry.
Great.
But the last thing I'll say is, hey, this is the first time I've ray traced. I'm breaking in my new GPU, RTX 4090.
That's why you haven't played this game back in 2019.
This was one of the first notable games to use ray tracing. And let me tell you, Heath, I'm whelmed by it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not quite underwhelmed. I'm not blown away. It's kind of meeting expectations. So I've been playing around with turning it on and off just to see like what is it really doing. So ray tracing, instead of having developers kind of quote unquote fake the lighting of an environment where it's artificial, we're actually simulating rays of light bouncing off surfaces in a more realistic manner, off of mirrors, off of reflections. Yeah, we're actually applying physics to try to simulate light in a more realistic way.
And the reason we couldn't do this back in Tomb Raider days
on the PS1
is because it needed a 4090.
Yes, you needed some very beefy computer hardware, which I now own, so I'm trying it out. It's honestly, I think it's just a testament to how good
imitation lighting
has become.
Yeah.
Yes. Since video games have existed for decades now, where we've been faking it this whole time, the artificial lighting that exists in video game environments, we got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So while I can tell when ray tracing is on, I'm not convinced that it's actually contributing much value to the experience.
Oh, this is the same debate over whether or not like hand-drawn animation, like Cuphead, is like that's as much a worthwhile endeavor as James Cameron going for the most realistic CGI.
Sure.
Where it's like, yeah, the CGI is we're approaching photoreal, but Cuphead still looks amazing.
Right. Of course. One of the best looking games out there.
The non-ray tracing lighting effects still look pretty good.
Yeah, we became very proficient at faking the lighting, quote unquote. So, this game came out in 2019. This is like the first iteration of developers even taking a crack at using actual ray tracing. So I'm sure it will improve.
I've seen it in Minecraft at least once.
Yeah, it's in Minecraft, it's in Cyberpunk. There are more examples now, but Control was one of the first. In my opinion, I'm not sure that it's worth the performance hit the game takes in terms of its frame rate by enabling the ray tracing.
You can't even sleep in your bedroom because it's so hot. Where your computer's running.
the graphics
Wait,
card.
no, your bedroom's in the other room.
Yeah, it's in the other room.
Oh, okay.
So I can sleep just fine.
Justin cooked alive in his sleep
when he was staying with me.
When you turned on some nightly Control session.
Good thing it's winter. I was keeping him warm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What a good host.
So ray tracing, not as mind-blowing as I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. But it is noticeable, just not mind-blowing. So that's initial bevy of Chris impressions on Control for now. Stay tuned for more. There will be more to come. And that's everything we've been playing.
Moving on. Go, go, go.
All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll do our time-honored tradition of predicting the Game Awards. See you then.
That would kill the podcast if I was like, Chris, we got to talk about esports. We're losing all the good esports listeners. Wouldn't you be like, I think it's time to go our separate ways?
Yeah, that would be more egregious than you telling me I had to come in here with one shoe on, one sock off. That came close to ending the podcast. And we're back.
Ooh.
Here we go, Heath. Another year, another Jeff Keighley Game Awards show.
There are 31 how many categories do we care about?
I made predictions for everything that did not include esports or content creator of the year in the title.
So there are 25 categories.
Sounds about right.
I'm hoping for double digits.
Okay. I'm sure you can achieve that. So this is, of course, the one episode per year where Heath and we discuss all the recent games that come out and that we haven't played.
I played Stray.
You did?
Yeah. I have video of Bailey reacting to it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I played Stray.
I had no idea.
Dude.
Why didn't you talk about Stray?
Did I not?
I don't think we've ever talked about Stray on the
No,
show.
pull up the soundbite of me talking about Stray.
You say that like I have it on hand. Oh, and your cat is looking at the screen too.
Yeah, swipe to whatever side.
These graphics are so real.
Oh, that's great.
Son, go along with your friends.
Man, you deprived us of this great content.
I thought I talked about it.
Did you finish the game?
No.
Okay.
We got to the part where you could die.
Got it.
And yeah. We got to the part where there was dialogue.
Ah.
I also used a mod to change the titular orange cat to a black cat for
Oh, that's right.
audience.
Wow, you're a
integration.
hacker.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Watch out. I'm gonna GTA 6 onto Twitter.
you get involved tinkering with modding anytime animals are involved. So Stray and Nintendogs emulation.
Oh yeah. that's my that's my battleground where I do all my hacking.
So 2022, another year in the books. Let's start running down these categories. We'll save Game of the Year for last, build some suspense. What's your gut check on the nominations this year, Heath, across the board?
Oh, across like all categories?
Yeah. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, it's the same as like whatever year went past where we had the killers, which were like Last of Us 2, I think Ghost of Tsushima, and like what are the other big AAA exclusive world premiere? Like just the killers. And so this is a game. This is a year that has its own palette worth of killers.
I agree. I think it's reminiscent of how I felt about 2018, the very first time we did this, where there were two guerrilla heavyweights. It was Red Dead 2 and God of War duking it out, and then there was everyone else.
It's like poetry. It's so that
and
it
now
rhymes.
Time is a flat circle. We've got God of War back, and now it's facing up against Elden Ring this year. And then there's everyone else who's left to pick up the crumbs.
Agreed. No Disco Elysium this year.
Right. I thought it was a little bit of a weaker year for indie games, personally.
It's because Hollow Knight didn't come out.
Right. Silksong next year, knock on wood.
Next year. Did Signalis get nominated?
Did which game?
Signalis.
I don't even know Signalis.
The survival horror Android type game from a German duo of developers.
Google search this game for me. I don't even know what it looks like.
All right, Signalis. It looks very blue-gray. Anime Goral, and then you're walking around little basey things. Doors will have like 5 keys. It's very Resident Evil.
Okay.
You have limited inventory. You have pausing the game does not stop the action.
Got it.
Signalis.
Did not get nominated anywhere.
No spoken word apart from like a German alarm.
All right. Let's dive in. First, we'll talk about best game direction. We
Crack 'em
don't
out.
need to name or read the description for most of these, but this is one where I think some extra clarity helps. It's awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And like I always say, it's the word innovation that kind of stands out to me for this category. And the nominees, Heath, what are they?
Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden 2, Immortality, and Stray.
That's right.
Chris, do I not give it to Elden Ring because Dark Souls is Dark Souls is Dark Souls?
Yeah, that's a good question. Elden Ring definitely building off an established formula. It's spawned a whole genre.
They innovated in the way that you think the map is a lot smaller than it is initially.
True. To spoil my choice, despite this warranted criticism you're bringing up for it not being that new of an idea, I did give it to Elden Ring for game direction this year. I just think
Bears.
I'm maybe attributing a lot of value to this game that probably exists, but I can't say for sure because I haven't played it.
Right.
But just the way people talk about it, open world is designed, how it's like a revolutionary idea. I think it's going to be Elden Ring. The only thing that can give it a run for its money is how weird Immortality is. But that is also building off the established Her Story formula.
Oh, yeah. That is formulaic a bit. Agreed. All right, next category.
So you also submit your answer as Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring's going to sweep.
I do have
in
it
large part.
winning quite a few categories here.
But does it win Best Narrative?
Agreed. All right, on to Best Narrative, where the nominees are A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and Immortality.
So I heard that God of War Ragnarok has a diaper story, but it's just an excuse to bring the characters that are so good together.
Did you say diaper?
Yeah,
okay.
The story of God of War Ragnarok is the same as any other story. It's like, gotta go get the thing. Gotta go kill the thing.
The overarching plot, kind of dull.
Right, but canoe rides where Tiernan, what's the
Mimir?
is that the head on the
I
belt?
think so.
Yeah, Mimir canonizes PlayStation All-Star Battle.
Yeah, I hear there's some fun references.
That's what we live for.
I hear there's like a poem collectible you find that's all about Uncharted or something like that.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like boy being the fish out of water, but also like the only person that can read and like revealing new mythos. And then God of War is his name.
Yeah.
That's like
The
calling
titular God of War.
Kratos being the brutish, like, I don't speak of this in response to whatever parable about a Norse something or other. That's what we live for. And that is storytelling.
For sure. I think you can factor it in to the overall narrative category.
I might give it to God of War for that reason then.
And I was definitely considering God of War. I think Elden Ring probably has a really cool story, but the only way you can access it is on an hour-long deep dive YouTube video. A Plague Tale Requiem, I hear, is pretty cool. God of War, it was the runner-up for my pick. I think maybe the only thing holding it back is some off-kilter pacing, where you do there's like apparently some long stretches of the game where you're just doing busy work. Maybe that kills the flow. I gave it to Immortality just because, hey, of these 5 games, Immortality is just the story pretty much. And it kind of hangs its hat on the strength of the narrative it spins with its real-life actors and stuff. So I'm going to give it to Immortality and the weird mind-bending things it supposedly does. Once again, worth highlighting. Heath and I haven't played most of these games. We'll get to them next year.
Yeah. On to the next category.
Yes.
Best art direction. Oh, I always nail this.
And I have made a fool of myself before.
For outstanding creative or technical achievement, you know what it is.
In artistic design and animation. What are the nominees, Heath?
Elden Ring, God of War again, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn. Oh, remember seeing Scorn at that Xbox Direct?
Yes.
With the slippery, creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
elicits some feelings.
And Stray.
And Stray. The following 3 categories, Heath: art direction, soundtrack, audio design, I was just at a loss with them. I think it's just a sign of the fact that video games these days, they all look and sound so good. And then audio design has always been completely... to have any idea who the winner of audio design is, you have to play the game, I feel.
I don't know. I didn't play that Call of Duty game that had the binaural footsteps tech.
Okay.
That's why I voted for that one. But for best art direction here, okay, so Elden Ring has that one dragon boss that used to be 3-headed but lost a head, so it's just the 2.
Okay.
Like some of the bosses in Elden Ring are really cool. In a alternate timeline where we had this podcast years ago, would you have given like Bloodborne best art direction?
Ooh.
I think you would have, like depending on who it ran up against.
I'd have to see who it was competing against.
Because Bloodborne's kind of crazy.
Yes. So
with
here's
its like occult,
all that gothic architecture.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And From Software's enemy designs are always legendary.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with From Software. Their technical chops always a little questionable. Like the way Bloodborne runs.
Oh,
oof.
sure.
But when it comes to their actual art direction, it carries their games. They're so good at making these worlds and these
Friggin' what's the Celestial Embassy? What's that boss called?
we're talking about the Lovecraftian stuff in Bloodborne?
Yeah, the Celestian Emissary. No, I'm talking about like the aliens.
Yeah, okay, right. They're unmatched with their enemy designs. I think, yeah, I
want to give it to Elden Ring.
I wanted to give it to Elden Ring as well. The one thing preventing me from doing it, Scorn is kind of like art direction the game.
Yeah.
That's its whole thing.
Yeah.
It's Geiger.
It's the Artful Escape for this year.
Who's the artist? H.R. Geiger.
H.R. Geiger, yeah.
It's totally capturing his feel.
Maybe Cronenbergian.
I wonder if it's like it's so well realized it'll put people off. Maybe it's disgusting. Like I don't want to look at Scorn, but I have to admire its craftsmanship. I will give it to Elden Ring.
Woo! Next, best score and music. We have A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring. Ooh, I like the Elden Ring theme. God of War Ragnarok, Metal Hellsinger, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, a Nintendo game arrives.
I forgot Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was a thing this year.
How could you? Donkey roasts it every year. It has the most egregious Cockney Australian accents among its characters.
Got it. I have heard how passionate those Xenoblade Chronicles fans are of those game soundtracks.
Yes.
They come out of the woodwork to support it. I just don't know if there are enough Xenoblade Chronicles 3 fans to get it the win here. I'm between Xenoblade and Elden Ring yet again.
Did I give all three of the previous things to Elden Ring?
Who did you give narrative to? God of War, you said.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because of the canoe. Yep. Best score and music. I don't think it's going to go to Elden Ring, despite how nice that menu
the main
theme
is. What are you thinking?
I'm going to give it to Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Who's the composer on that?
It's Yasunori Mitsuda.
He's pretty well known, right?
Yeah, Mitsuda, yeah. Definitely. Gun to your head.
Gun to my head. I will give it to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as well.
Hey, good choice. Best audio design, as I was mentioning, it's just sound design and stuff. Of course, car game enters the mix. We got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the second one, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, and Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah. This was maybe the category I was least confident on.
Do you remember whether or not God of War, when you throw the magical axe and it makes the big arcing kind of thing, if there's like stereo...
Ooh, like surround sound stuff? Sony likes their 3D audio effects. I don't know the answer to that. However...
What?
Sony is well represented in this category. Sony made God of War, Gran Turismo 7, and Horizon.
Oh,
They're
you're
60%
right.
of this category.
Wow.
First party studios anyway. I'm picking a lottery number here. Let's just give it to Gran Turismo 7. It's trying to be a super real simulation of racing cars. You better nail the soundscape on that.
I feel like you do that every category. With every time it's audio design
Yep,
comes up.
I just picked the most realistic
cars.
simulation thing out there. And I'm usually wrong, I feel. So
I want to give it to Call of Duty.
okay. I think Call of Duty has won in years past.
Remember the classic Modern Warfare 2, like the green waveform, like.
I do not.
Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about like the splash screen before you get to the main menu?
Yeah, just the weird like UAV online. Every kind of impact hit that Modern Warfare had, where it was like, I don't know how to describe it. That's audio design. We're just blazing through. Best performance. Some familiar faces. We got Ashley Birch who plays the titular character in Horizon Forbidden West. We have Charlotte McBurney from A Plague Tale Requiem. Christopher Judge back as Kratos in God of War Ragnarok. Manon Gage, who's got to be the titular person in Immortality.
She's the
not titular.
Main actress.
Yeah. And then Sonny Suljic, who probably voices Boy in Ragnarok.
He does. Also, you said Ashley Birch plays the titular Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aloy.
Aloy. Her name's not Horizon Forbidden West.
I need to look one thing up.
Okay. So everyone is always like, of all these characters, come here, boy, this way, boy, silence, boy. Christopher Judge has entered the general consciousness so much so that he's in control.
Funny.
Thank you.
And I think the last time a God of War game came out, I think it was Christopher Judge who won.
Possibly.
I didn't bother to look it up.
Unless friggin' Detroit Become Human guy
Oh, no.
beat him for it.
It couldn't have been him. It was
Darn.
probably Arthur Morgan, because that was that
Oh,
year.
yeah. Dutch.
We could look it up, but we won't bother.
I'm going to give it to God of War Ragnarok because
which
of
one?
Christopher Judge.
Because of Christopher Judge.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So here's the funny thing. Despite God of War Ragnarok actors appearing twice on this nomination list, it wasn't the actor I was expecting to see. I've heard so much glowing praise for Richard Skiff's voice as Odin in God of War.
Oh.
I hear he steals the show every time he's on screen.
Oh.
Just such an intimidating presence. But he's not featured here. So,
Too small a part, maybe.
and then I know last year there were the two Deathloop actors. Maybe they split the Deathloop vote and it went to Lady Dimitrescu. So this year, I'm giving it to Manon Gage for Immortality. She plays the lead actress in that game, which is a game all about acting.
Yeah.
She's playing the character in multiple different films and also playing the character of the person who is the actress outside of the films.
Whoa.
I don't know. It's so meta that I think she's a shoo-in. It's got to be her. I give it to Immortality for best performance.
Great. Games for Impact. This cursed category.
Why do you say curse? This category is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. The nominees are A Memoir Blue, As Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling Extinction is Forever, Hindsight, and I can't actually read the last one because Heath is in the way.
I was a teenage exo-colonist.
Got it.
Is that like I was a teenage witch joke?
Or I was a teenage robot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nickelodeon flashback.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, I know what As Dusk Falls is.
Right.
That game should have some art direction nods towards it. But it's all about race.
Yes, it's in the vein of a Telltale game, right? That kind of narrative
Yes.
story. I have only heard of 2 of these games. It was As Dusk Falls and Citizen Sleeper were the ones I'm familiar with. Citizen Sleeper's cool. I want to play that game. It's about...
Looks very Jet Set Radio.
It is, I think it's like it's a critique on very, very late stage corporate capitalism where you are a robot who gets like powered on and you're kind of like scraping together enough parts to like put yourself back together to work the next day, I think.
Yeah.
Knowing so little about most of these games and hearing the praise I heard for Citizen Sleeper, I'll give it to Citizen Sleeper.
Great.
And you're As Dusk Falls?
Yes.
Yeah, those are 2 good choices.
That was Games for Impact. On to Best Ongoing Game.
It's so funny to me. It's the same 5 games every year in this category.
No, Final Fantasy... Destiny 2 is...
It's always these games, dude.
All right.
It's just, who do we give it to this year? Whose
Yeah.
turn is it?
Whose turn is it?
So last year, it was Final Fantasy XIV's turn.
Because they had the critically acclaimed Stormbreakers, whatever.
I think I think their big expansion was releasing in December, so it wasn't out at the time that the voting happened last year.
But the zeitgeist was
But
already
maybe the
in
hype was
place.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't, we haven't even announced the nominees. Just tune into last year's episode. You'll hear them.
Just remember.
The nominees are, for Best Ongoing Game, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
Apex Legends is the weakest link, surely.
That one does seem to have dropped off in the zeitgeist, yeah. I never hear about it. I hear good things about Destiny 2.
You
I hear
do?
how Fortnite is about to wrap up Chapter 3 of Fortnite, and the fans are saying too soon.
Oh.
They're not ready for Chapter 4. They wanted more Chapter 3. That's a sign of fans liking the game. People always love Final Fantasy XIV, and I have trouble respecting Genshin Impact.
Because it's gambling.
Because it's gotcha.
Yeah.
It's gotcha game. There's so much positive sentiment around Final Fantasy XIV. I'll give it to them yet again.
I was going to give it to Final Fantasy 14.
Do it. We can both celebrate it together.
I won't.
You won't? Then who do you give it to?
No, I am giving
you
it to
will.
Final Fantasy. Best Indie.
Who are the nominees, Heath?
Cult of the Lamb,
Yeah.
Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. Stray was not enough of a game to be a game.
You can say that having played it.
I can say that. Sifu was pretty good.
Came out in like January, one of the first games of the year.
Do you know the conceit of Sifu?
I know the aging up your character every time you fail. You return, and like I think your speed is slower, but you hit harder as you age. Is that right?
You get more abilities and tech.
Until eventually you do die, and then it's a hard reset.
I wouldn't know that. All I
Okay.
know is that if you get really good at the game and you can beat it at 20, you get the true ending.
Oh,
So you have to like make use of the barest toolbox.
yes, because everyone knows 20-year-olds are far worse at fighting
the
than
dumbest.
the 70-year-olds.
Right. Hey, is Neon White the game where you platform with your guns?
Yes.
That's a
From one of the creators of Donut County, a game I like.
Oh! Do you give it to Neon White?
Here's the thing. I saw the indie category. I saw the nominees.
Yep.
Instant gut pick right off the bat was going to be Tunic, actually.
Oh.
I've heard the stuff Tunic does compared to all of these, maybe the most innovative. I haven't played the game. I can't really spoil it. But the conceit of Tunic is it looks like this charming little Zelda throwback. But in reality, it is this nostalgic deep dive to the era where games, you'd buy them at the store physically, and they'd come with the game manual that you'd flip through on the way home in the car.
That's Tunic.
And in this Tunic game, that manual is represented in the game, and you're slowly
Collecting pages.
piecing it together. It has the knowledge component of Outer Wilds that we love, where you can do things from the very start that you just don't know that you can do. I hear that even like leveling up, investing your skill points, that's like a puzzle in this game. You don't know how to do it, even though you can do it from minute one. So it's a game about knowledge.
Wow.
And it's very innovative. And I was so ready to give it to Tunic. And then one thing gave me pause, Heath. And that thing was, of these indie games, only one of them is nominated for Game of the Year.
Uh-huh.
That being Stray.
Uh-huh.
Does Stray have just all this fan support behind it because Cat?
Oh.
Because Stray seems like the far less interesting game. Just like you said, it's like a platforming game where you don't really need to do much platforming because it's the cat just as agile and leaps.
It's like Knack.
It's like point and click.
Yeah.
I'm going to go...
I want to play Tunic now.
Yeah, we should play Tunic. It sounds like a Mobius Tubes game. So I have to grapple with the same issue later on when we get to debut indie because it's all the same faces again. So what I'm probably going to do is just pick a lane, Stray or Tunic, award it to both, and then hope I like pick up at least one of them. Damn, this is tough. I'm going to give it to Tunic.
Yay! All right, I'm sticking with Sifu.
Very cool.
On to best mobile game. Unless you want to change the category order.
No, we're good.
It includes Apex Legends Mobile, Diablo Immortal, Genshin Impact, Marvel Snap, and Tower of Fantasy.
I haven't even heard of Tower of Fantasy.
Is that the game Janice likes where he breeds?
In my headcanon, I'll say yes.
All right.
So we know Janice's vote.
Yeah.
This one's easy for me. It's got to be Marvel Snap. Big time. Have you heard of Marvel Snap?
No.
It's the big hotness.
I see Galactus.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of Marvel IP, and it's a super short head-to-head PvP card game
I see Doctor Doom.
where you're battling over 3 lanes, and there's a fun gambling aspect where you can bluff. As if you win, you get a certain number of coins, and it like increases your rank. But if you're super cocky at any point during the match, you can double down and double the ante, and that's called snapping. It's the titular Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
It's the poker bluff, and you can do it even if your hand is actually crap. And so it doubles the ante, and at any point, a player can choose to withdraw from the match, forfeit.
Oh, and
then
the earlier you withdraw, the less you lose.
You're penalized. So there's the mind games aspect of it. There's the cool fighting over 3 lanes. Do you commit to one lane? It's when
Monster
a majority.
Train had 3 lanes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
You just love lanes.
I love fighting over 3 lanes. I love winning 2 out of 3. That's why Rock, Paper, Scissors is my favorite game. And the last thing I'll say about Marvel Snap to sing its praises, a match is like 3 minutes tops. So it's super compatible with the mobile format that it appears on. Like you can just whip out 2 games when you're standing in line. It's the perfect mobile game, apparently. It's Marvel Snap. You can hop on the Marvel Snap bandwagon if you want.
I won't. I'm going to choose Genshin Impact.
Okay.
And just hope that carries me to Winterville. Best community support.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about Genshin Impact?
No, I mean, okay, so I employ a lot of children, and I think I've seen them playing Genshin Impact on a phone.
How many children do you employ?
Like so many.
Okay.
That's not true. Currently, maybe like 3. At most, like 5.
What are the age of these kids?
Like 16, 17, 18.
Wow, okay.
The youngest was 15, but that was her first job ever, and it showed.
This is funny just because in my own headspace, the laundry list of your responsibilities, it's ever growing at work. Like,
I'm just,
do everything and anything.
I'm just handing out juice boxes.
I recently learned you run the payroll.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
On to the next
category.
Best community support for supporting the community in the best ways.
Of course.
We have Familiar faces: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky.
It's best ongoing a game all over again, except we have No Man's Sky this time. Who did I give this to?
This is where you give it to Final Fantasy.
I agree. I actually did give it to Final Fantasy 14.
Because they're just juicing it with support.
The fans love it.
It's too profitable for them to not support.
Yeah, I hear you need to pay a monthly subscription to play Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
In the year 2022.
Yeah.
For people to happily fork over that money, they must be doing something right to keep the community supported.
It's truly, it's never, like, what Final Fantasy are we on right now? 16?
16 is coming out in the summer of next year.
But this 14 online component is going to remain indefinitely.
Right.
So
cool. We're in agreement.
We're in agreement.
Hey.
Innovation and accessibility. I'm Mark Brown.
Yes, Mark Brown's life work category. Here are the nominees: As Dusk Falls, God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, The Last of Us Part 1, and The Quarry.
Last of Us Part 1. Oh, the remake?
Yes, it is the remake of The Last of Us.
So weird.
It is
dude.
so wacky.
But they fixed the the D-pad weapon select.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to assume they have because I'm giving it to The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, well, I won't be. I'm going to give it to God of War Ragnarok.
A safe bet. You know, both of those games that we're awarding it to, both Sony first-party games. And Sony does make accessibility a priority. I think, that was kind of the reason I did it. I remember when The Last of Us Part 2 came out, it was crazy with all the
accessibility features.
Yes, like the narration that you can just have read out like things in the environment and the color coding you can do. I know the highlighting things in certain colors also happens in God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's going to be which Sony party studio did it better this year.
Did it the hardest, yeah.
Naughty Dog or Santa Monica? I'm going to give it to Naughty Dog, and Heath is team Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
Cool.
I could fly to Santa Monica.
With your new pass.
With my new pass. We'll see if I'm a joke in the friend group buying that pass.
On to the next category.
Best VR AR game.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Talk about a bunch of unfamiliar faces.
Well, okay. Among Us VR. Have you seen a single second of Among Us VR?
I became aware of it when I saw this category.
Okay, because there are some funny memes of people wearing the headset, right? And having the Oculus controllers and chasing after, like, there will be a squeaker of a child that's doing a task in the game. And then you, because you're able to like point at them and be like, and I saw one viral clip of just like a full grown one of us being like, "It's you," and then the child being like, "No, it's not me," and they're just running away, and then like the grown man gives chase, but he's putting arm motions as if he's sprinting, and you can see like the screen shake as he's making a mad dash for this tiny child, and it like just when he's in reach of stabbing, the emergency button is hit and the clip ends. So
something about that made me.
It was persuasive.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's so peak comedy. Yeah. Okay, we should read these nominees. After the Fall, Among Us VR, Bone Lab, Moss Book 2, and Red Matter.
Red Matter.
Red Matter 2. Sorry.
Red Matter 2 looks interesting.
So I had to look these up before I cast my vote.
Yeah.
I had heard of Moss, the first game, and I see Moss Book 2, maybe the best critically reviewed of this batch. However, I'm going to give it to Among Us VR, just hoping for the popularity aspect. Part of the weighted average for who wins each category, there's a 10% audience vote, straight popularity contest, and I'm hoping that gives Among Us the bump it needs to edge out its competitors. I give it to Among Us VR.
If only George was here to tell us how to vote.
Super Bunny Hop, George?
Known Super Bunny Hop, known Star Wars Battle Squadron player.
Known Valve Index owner, George Super Bunny Hop.
I'm also going to give it to Among Us just for mass appeal.
Yes. The rest of these I was far less familiar with. Did you see George? He's been uploading like audiobooks lately.
I did listen to what was it, Greek something.
Yes.
right?
He just loves ancient
Sponsored
Greece.
by Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I love that sponsorship.
So goofy. Hey, we're on the best action game. Hey, you're at the halfway mark, listener. No, that's more than halfway because
Yeah.
we're redacting all the esports ones.
Right. They never existed. All right. The nominees for the best action game are Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the second one, Neon White, Sifu, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which I hear people really like.
Why is it giving me like Paper Mario art style vibes?
Maybe the thick white outline around the character models,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah. It looks like a thing of fruit snacks.
So there's some stiff competition in this category.
Chris, I heard the Bayonetter is not as hot as it once was.
Also worth highlighting, all of these 5 nominees doing action in very different ways.
From gun to sexy gun to card gun
card gun.
to fist to nunchucks.
Yeah, sure. Despite some controversy around it with the voice actress stuff, I'm going to give it to Bayonetta 3.
Oh, do we ever give that an explanation?
We have not mentioned it on the show.
Okay.
No. It's a weird situation.
It's weird.
I'm surprised it happened at all.
She went off the rails.
Yeah, what? I wonder what she was thinking.
What, Hale is her name, or that's the replacement?
Jennifer Hale's the replacement,
Okay.
who is FemShep.
I wouldn't know
Right. I wouldn't know either, actually.
because I'm too busy hitting on all these Citadel ladies in my heteronormative space adventure.
Cisgender white Commander Shepard. Okay. Yeah, I give it to Bayonetta 3. I don't think it's nominated anywhere else. I am a Bayonetta fan thanks to the second one. And it's just, I'm a Platinum fanboy. What can I say?
Here's the issue: the genre best action game award is just for the best game focused primarily on combat. So it's not necessarily how good, because Neon White is more platforming than anything.
It's a hybrid for sure.
But
Yeah.
it's just which of these games is the best game for this category.
Yeah, I think the fact that it appears here and is nominated just means it made the cut. And now, how do we assess the quality of these games?
It pains me. I want to give it to Neon White, but I'm going to give it to the Call of Duty.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
But next category.
That never gets old.
Best action adventure game.
Yes, where the nominees are A Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic.
Tunic is back.
Tunic is back, and it couldn't shake Stray. Stray is hounding it, despite that it features cats.
Much in the way that Boo would not leave you alone.
Bruce saw
initially.
that lemon protein bar.
It's his favorite.
Yeah, who knew?
His catabolic window is closing.
Oh, wow.
I give it to God of War Ragnarok.
Easy God of War Ragnarok. No need to further elaborate.
It's just,
It is the action adventure game.
yeah, it's just,
It's the blueprint.
it's distilled action adventure.
Yes. It's
Best-
hard. It gives you more adventure per action than any other game.
Best role playing game.
Yeah.
We got some new blood.
Yes. What are the nominees, Heath?
Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Right. And normally I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 takes it in this category, except Elden Ring came out this year. So I've got to give it to Elden Ring.
Agreed. Do you want to talk about any of the other 4 on the category?
I will just say that I think Live Alive sounds pretty cool.
This is a remake of the old one?
Yes. Given like the Octopath Traveler art style coat of paint. And yeah, it's so wacky. Each vignette you play through, there's like the chapter where you're playing through a Western. And then there's the chapter where you're a caveman and there's no spoken dialogue. It's just random.
It's
and
just
then
unga bunga.
somehow it all comes together by the end. I want to try that game.
Okay.
But yes, we both agree it goes to Elden Ring for best role-playing game.
Yes. Moving on. Best fighting game.
Let's read the description. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat.
The nominees are DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R,
Yeah.
The King of Fighters 15, Multiversus, and Sifu again.
Yeah. So, Heath, guess what?
What?
This is usually a gimme category. I've never gotten it wrong. It's always super easy for me to identify like which fighting game actually popped into the mainstream because I don't pay attention to fighting games. So I just pick the one that I actually know about and it wins. This year, I've got a dilemma to answer. And that is, I was going to give it to Sifu because I think it was the most critically acclaimed of these. But then I'm like, wait, Sifu isn't what we categorize as a fighting game.
It's PvE.
Right. It is just a single player action game where you happen to fight with. There's a heavy emphasis on martial arts in Sifu.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it crept into this category. But what we colloquially know as a fighting game is like a roster of characters you fight against another human with.
Yeah.
And if we open it up to Sifu, then like why isn't Elden Ring in here? You spend all that game fighting.
Yeah.
It's wacky. I don't think Sifu should be here.
Right.
If I don't give it to Sifu,
It's the flight simulator of this game.
right?
Game Awards.
It's why is Flight Simulator in the strategy category? So I don't know what to do. Give it to Multiversus because Multiversus. Sorry, I said that weird. Or Sifu. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm giving it to DNF Duel.
What?
I'm bad at this category. I know too much about fighting games.
Oh, you're in too deep. You need to be a normie like me.
I need to be a normie, but I can't resist Arc System.
Oh, that's an Arc System Works game.
They make the best fighting games, from Dragon Ball to maybe a Blaze Blue here or there, but DNF Duel has everything. It's got the greatest amount of detail,
For sure.
but it lacks the mass appeal of Multiversus, where Velma can uppercut Superman.
Yeah. You went with the pick that people would vote for if they're in the know. DNF Duel.
Yeah. Fighting game players are choosing DNF Duel as their representative.
Yes. Fighting game players wouldn't even think Sifu is eligible. Man, I'm so torn. I think I'll just go with you went with the most knowledgeable answer. I'll go with the least knowledgeable answer and give it to Multiversus as my pick.
Yay! This is fun. From 2 walks of life. Best family game. For the best game appropriate for literal children,
The Nintendo category.
we've got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Mario plus Rabbids 2, Nintendo Switch Sports, and then Splatoon 3.
Yes.
Chris,
Yeah.
some notable games here.
Some notable games. Oh, yeah. A new Nintendo Switch sports game came out this year.
With the Freak Miis.
Oh, are they freaky?
They're Miis, but they're way too like Bitmoji looking, hyper detailed compared to the OG Miis.
I see. They're too high fidelity.
They should have kept OG Miis available to play as.
Well, that'll eliminate it from the running, if you ask me.
Like, look at this gray-haired mustache. Like, look at this bowler that just looks like Snapchat avatars.
Yeah, they really do.
You and
No, I know. I've been on Snapchat. Let's see. I think I think
So the best game here is Mario plus Rabbids.
I would be inclined to say so, yes.
But what's going to win the category?
Right. I don't think it's the hallmark of a family game. I think it's you just play it by yourself, I think.
And Curb is not going to take it this year.
I think
It didn't break enough new ground.
it's in the top 3 for winning this category.
Yeah.
How much have you heard about Splatoon 3?
It's got good tech.
Really?
Splatoon has always had good ways. Like the skill ceiling has always been very high.
Yes.
If you dare leave a North American server to go play on a Japanese server of Splatoon, get ready to get calamari crisped.
You're swimming with the sharks.
Yeah. They're no longer. You're a kid. You're a squid. You're a kid. It's just
You're an appetizer.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
Splatoon 3, nothing but good news. It's just the latest installment of the good arena shooter.
I wonder if it almost has too much of a competitive angle to it to win best family game.
Yeah.
I'm actually, despite your naysaying, I give it to Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
No, I can't abide by that.
Because of big mouthful mode. It's going to take it to the top.
I'm so happy I didn't lead with that. I'm going to give it to Splatoon 3.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
We chose different sides of the Nintendo coin here. I think there's also a chance Lego Star Wars could win it.
I hope not. That feels like giving J.K. Rowling an award these days.
Oh.
Make of that what you will.
Okay. I will not dive into that statement any further because we're here to discuss the best sim/strategy game. Who are the nominees, Heath?
Dune Spice Wars. Mario plus Rabbids again. Total War Warhammer 2.
3.
Oh, sorry. 3. 2 Point Campus, which has got to be another one of these like university sim, like keep enrollment up, kind of like a hospital manager type game. Gotta
Yes.
be. And then Victoria 3.
That's
I've not heard of this Paradox game.
It just came out.
Does it look any different?
Let's find out.
Victoria 3. If I type in Victoria 3 to Google, do I get a lady? Never mind. There was only one Queen Victoria, right?
That looks like a Paradox game, baby.
That does look like a Paradox game. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the same. Okay. Chris,
Yes.
if I didn't say Total War Warhammer 3, what would you accuse me of smoking?
Well, here's the thing, Heath.
Some of that Spice Wars.
I did not give it to Total War
What?
Warhammer 3.
What? Chris,
Heath has smacked his mic.
Chris, what?
Yes. So it's going to be my favorite strategy game of the year. No doubt. I don't think it wins. It's a PC exclusive that requires very demanding hardware. There's no way the majority of the panel voting on this category has even seen a screenshot of the game. It's Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope that's going to win. And it wouldn't be my pick, but I think it's a deserving winner. That first game, way better than it had any right to be. And I hear this one is an improvement. It's more freeform than ever. Grid, goodbye, Grid. It is now freeform movement under a certain radius kind of thing. Very tactical and satisfying. Also, the other thing that's maybe the Achilles heel, the Total War Warhammer 3 winning this category, it's going to be amazing a year from now. Right now, it's in a bit of a rough state.
Oh.
You would only know that if you are very invested in the franchise.
Yeah. A sycophant.
I don't know if that word applies here.
A simp.
Yeah, perfect. Do you also give it to Mario and Rabbids?
No, I'm sticking to my guns.
You're going to go Total War Warhammer 3.
I'm going to go Total War.
Oh, man. I will feel so much remorse if you are right. I'll feel like I sold out and didn't get my payday.
I took your vacation days.
Yes.
On to the next category. Best sports racing game.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an Ollie Ollie world here. That's
The skateboarding game. Here are the nominees. F1.
look at this. Look at this, like letters and numbers salad.
I hope you like acronyms. Here we go. F1 22, FIFA 23, NBA 2K23, Gran Turismo 7 again, and Ollie Ollie World. I'm going to stick with the Chris time-honored tradition of selecting
The racing game.
the Sim Sports Racing Game winner as the game that has the least to do with either sports or racing. So I will give it to Ollie Ollie World as my pick.
Oh,
I think I've heard of Ollie Ollie, and it's beloved with those in the know. And I think World is maybe the best iteration to date. And the rest of these games, I think for the people who know sports games, they've all got their favorite. I think they just split the vote because they're all interchangeable to me. Like you've got the racing fans, but then half of them are going to go to F122, half of them are going to go to Gran Turismo. Half of the people like soccer, half the people like basketball. And then somehow
the same people that like soccer also play the basketball game.
the huge block of the voting panel that doesn't care about any sports games, they're all going to go to Ollie Ollie World, baby. So that's my pick.
No, I'm gonna give it to FIFA 23.
How did you narrow it down to that one?
Because Russia was blocked from the World Cup participation on account of the war with Ukraine. So everyone's over there is dying for some soccer, if you know what I mean, or football as they call it. And what better way to show your support for the sport by choosing FIFA 23, baby?
Perfect.
I'm moving to the next category as fast as possible. Best multiplayer game.
Yes. This one was a head scratcher.
Overwatch 2 appears.
Yeah, so the nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the second one, Multiversus, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Which I think, is that multiplayer just like
That's
couch
just
co-op?
four-person co-op, yeah? Is that like Castle Crashers?
I think so. Yeah. So a bit different than the other entries.
Chris,
Yes.
Multiversus is the best game of these.
I don't know if I agree.
What?
It's in the running for sure. I think if my vote is incorrect, it'll be because Multiversus wins.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm reconsidering my vote. What I had jotted down was actually to give it to Splatoon 3.
Uh-huh.
But there's also that element to consider where Nintendo's multiplayer infrastructure is always shoddy. So do you really give the Nintendo game best multiplayer when their matchmaking has some question marks around it? Hoo boy. So it sounds like you're in support of Multiversus winning it.
Yes, there's just too much heat behind Iron Giant and Harley Quinn and all these beloved characters. And it's got rollback.
Oh,
It's got decent net code.
got it.
We're sticking with them.
Are we in agreement that the least likely to win is Overwatch 2?
Right, because it's Overwatch 1 again.
Yeah. I mean, if it truly was Overwatch 1 again, Overwatch 1 was the crown winner of the Game Awards the year it came out.
Right. But the street cred has been lost.
Tarnished,
Yeah.
but not Elden Ring tarnished.
Not tarnished guy.
All right. You've swayed me. I think Multiversus is the winner here.
Woo.
I will hop on your bandwagon.
On to next.
Hey.
Best debut indie. We finally made it.
Almost done here. Just a
Vampire
couple more to go.
Survivors.
So the nominees for Best Debut Indie, bunch of familiar faces. Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors.
Yes.
What do you know about Vampire Survivors?
I know it's like an auto tower defense mobile game that actually has some cool loops.
Yeah, I've heard it described as reverse bullet hell, where you are the bullet hell provider. Some people really like it. It really does not look like a Chris game in any form.
Your dopamine centers just aren't swayed by its almost like casino-like gameplay.
Yeah, it seems like it'll hijack your dopamine system for sure.
Yeah.
I committed to this strategy before where I was just going to double down on whatever indie game of the year was and give it to it again. So I will say Tunic wins yet again.
If you're going Tunic, I'm going to go Stray. I think this is where you shill out the popularity vote.
Safe bet.
Yeah.
I like it.
On to the last category?
I think we have
Best adaptation.
we have a couple left.
Okay.
Hey, new category this year, best adaptation. Let's read the description.
World premiere. Let's read the description. Recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. Does it say what medium?
I think it just any
What
medium
best movie?
/ series.
Yeah.
So this is fun. I've watched some of these. I can actually weigh in. So we've got Arcane for League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, The Cuphead Show,
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted with Tom Holland
As
Nathan Drake,
Mr. Naughty Dog.
as titular Uncharted. So,
Chris,
are we...
First-
you've heard of these.
first talk about Cyberpunk.
Okay, so it's clear to me this is a fight between Arcane and Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I don't think anything else is even remotely in the running.
Even I can see that.
Yes. So, reading the description and going literally off the words, I would probably give it to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I've listened to some spoiler casts after the fact and really grew to so part of what was lost about how faithful Cyberpunk Edge Runners is to the game and its world is the fact that I haven't played the game, so all the connections are lost on me. But the fact that in fight scenes in the anime, they're using remixed versions of combat tracks in the game and putting it into the show. Same sound effects trigger. The same UI when characters take their digital phone calls appear in the show as used in the game.
Ring, ring.
One of the side, Rebecca's apartment in the show that you briefly see in one scene exists in the game's world. You can visit that location and walk into the apartment.
Yeah.
And the events of the show take place before the game, so there's some pieces of evidence that those events transpired. So it is, holistically integrated into the world of the game. So it's a really great adaptation in that sense. I don't actually think it'll win, though. Yeah, I don't think it wins. I think Arcane League of Legends wins as the best adaptation of a video game. So yeah, I think it's actually the weaker quote-unquote adaptation, but the better show, and I think that carries it. I think Cyberpunk Edge Runners also, visually, it just looks like a Studio Trigger show where Arcane was kind of like raising the bar of quality for 3D animated TV with some of the techniques it was employing. Very impressive from an animation standpoint. And then I like the story Arcane told a little bit more. And I think it had the bigger cultural moment and pop off compared to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So that's
Arcane
why.
did?
It's all just anecdotal, but I thought it did.
Okay. I'm so out of the loop.
I could be in my own little echo chamber, entirely possible. But yeah, I'll give it to Arcane. I think it wins Best Adaptation, despite a strong showing from Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
In that case,
Do you want to be contrarian?
I will go with Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Excellent. We have a fight on our hands.
Good. Wait, you hate this category?
I made a vote.
Oh, most anticipated game.
Yes. What was last year's winner was Elden Ring. And that's why Elden Ring will win Game of Year this year.
Yes.
Because it was most anticipated, so it has to win.
It has to.
So what are the nominees this time around?
Ooh, okay, so Final Fantasy 16. Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah, that's coming out next year.
Resident Evil 4 remake master.
Yes.
Starfield,
Yes.
Todd Howard's thing. And Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
5 big heavyweight games. Yeah.
This is a 50-50.
Let me guess. Are you between Resident Evil and Zelda?
Yes. If we're all like not joking around.
Right. I never joke around when it comes to predicting the Game Awards.
No. That of all things is not a game.
Yeah. So this was easy for me. I think it's obviously The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Bro, there is so much Res Evil 4 hype.
I think it'll be nothing short of an astonishing game. But at the same time,
A new game versus a remake.
it is a remake
Yeah.
of one of the most beloved games ever made, granted. But people know what they're going to get, kind of.
If you turn back the time machine and you said, what's the most anticipated game the year that Final Fantasy VII Remake would have been eligible for voting, despite that being a remake, that would have taken the category against whatever new, breaking new ground competitor.
I think it would probably have been that or Last of Us Part 2,
Sure.
since those were the same year.
Those were the same year?
Those came out the same year, yeah.
Last of Us Part 2
Was
and
a 2020 game, yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. That is tough, actually. I could see that going either way.
And then how will it go this? Yeah, is it tough this year?
If you're going Legend of Zelda, I'm gonna go Legend of Zelda because I want to win.
Yes, I think that's the one.
Darn. All right.
Which brings us to an underwhelming final category. Well, there's some fun things to talk about.
Nope.
Because we're skipping all the esports chaff. Which means the last thing we have left is just the game of the year,
Oh, that's what you're getting at.
which has 6 nominees, strangely. What are
They
they?
all do.
Heath?
They always do.
Yeah, it usually has more than the other categories.
Yeah. Bringing back Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
All those Xenoblade Chronicles fans, aren't they just like thrilled that they made it on?
They're like, "Oi, governor, I can't believe we made it to the top."
Yeah, how did that sneak on there? That and Stray, honestly.
Doug Bowser said you have to put one of our games on the docket, and they said fine.
Isn't it weird to me that Stray is here? It
Well,
seems
it's the same nod
so
that
innocuous.
It's just the same nod that. What indie game came out last year that was like a tip of the hat? Did like Back for Blood get Game of the Year nommed?
Well, what I thought was the indie game tip of the hat last year
Was Disco?
was It Takes Two, and then it won.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that game won.
Yeah, is that an infamous? Did that not pan out in retrospect?
I should, before I make any definitive claims, I should probably play the damn game. But
Yeah, I would. I perfectly should, right? Because you played Two Brothers, and I played A Way Out.
yeah, so we should come together. It's the culmination. Yeah, we should play that together. I don't have a girlfriend anymore.
And yeah, I'll be your girlfriend.
Yeah, you just need to break up too, and then we're golden.
Oh no. All right. Elden Ring takes Game of the Year.
Yep. I mean, it was going to be that or God of War.
What would have had to have happened for Elden Ring to not take it? It would have had to be
At what point in time
boilerplate.
do you think it was a shoe-in from January 1st or a shoe-in since we saw its reception? Because I thought there was definitely a chance something else could win before
Right.
we saw those reviews, and it got a 97 on Metacritic.
Uh-huh.
But after that 97 showed up, it was kind of locked in.
So, yeah.
God of War was the only contender to the throne, and it got a very respectable 94 on Metacritic, but not quite a 97, so there's no way it can win.
It's just, God of War Ragnarok is just as good as Red Dead Redemption 2.
Probably.
Critically acclaim-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elden Ring takes Game of the Year. And we tip our hat. We tip our tarnished hat to all the other people in the category here.
Yeah, do you think there's anything to the fact that the last time we got Santa Monica God of War, it did win? It beat the Red Dead Redemption 2.
God of War is not going to win.
Yeah, I agree. I guess that means by the transitive property, Elden Ring is much better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Is if we keep God of War equivalent between the 2 years.
Yeah.
And then God of War beat Red Dead, but now we're saying Elden Ring beats God of War.
Yeah.
That means just Red Dead Redemption 2 is trash.
The transitive property, is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called.
Okay, that's funny.
Cool.
And that's the Game Awards.
That's the Game Awards. Another year predicted. I have so much fun with this tradition.
And I'm going to have even more fun when Jeff actually invites us there to present something.
Right.
And we can say F the Oscars.
Yeah. That'll be our 15 minutes of fame. Cool. We should wrap up this podcast.
Chris, go eat another lemon bar while I imagine me sitting in an empty hot tub with messing with tubes and blower motors.
Yes, I will ruminate on that thought in my head.
Yeah.
Listeners, you can expect me to come back with what might be our final episode of the year. Next episode.
What?
Probably. And I will come with so many hot takes. All have played Control, Deathloop, Death Stranding, and Halo Infinite.
You sound
campaign.
like me.
Yeah, but I might actually deliver.
Oh, because you have so much
Free
vacation time.
I said I'm in peak degen mode right now.
Peak degen, yeah. No, wait. Next episode can't be our last episode because then I got to have the top 10 ready.
That didn't stop you last year. This doesn't need to make in the show, but I had one of my buddies from Daddy's Got Game, as we call it, Thomas. He was listening
Dad's
to...
on a map.
Dad's on a map. He was listening to last year's top 10, and he was smitten with your list. He loved it.
Oh.
He thought it was the most funny thing he'd listened to.
Why? Oh, what? Because I'm pulling decades old games that I just come around to?
No, just the way you had it segmented, like your number 10 caused you physical illness. Your number 7 was just the dividing line between the bad and the good. It was great. All right.
I'll take your word for it.
Let's call it quits and see you next time.
Thanks
Heath.
for listening.
Bye.